how do the guys who are in wrestling and still in wrestling look at guys like you have made the transition?
I look up to them.
It's all positive?
I think I look up to them more than they look up to me. But they come up and they're like, "Hey, Clay, how you doing, Mr. Guida?" I'm like, "Don't call me that." Like, I'm a little bit older than you guys, but you guys will still roll me up or whatever. And they're great guys, and I always say, there's something out there after wrestling if you want to look into it besides coaching, besides competition. But not everyone's cut out for MMA. But I do look up to them, if not as much, more than they look up to me. So it's nice to go there. I feel very comfortable hanging out with the kids, the parents, signing autographs or whatever, the wrestlers, whoever it may be.
So guys are starting to make a quick transition, some of them, because years ago, when you guys wrestled collegiately, maybe mixed martial arts wasn't the immediate path because there wasn't a whole lot of money. You didn't think you could get to UFC very quickly. In some cases, you can. We're seeing some of the Olympians and guys who just missed out on the Olympics from this most recent Olympics making a run at it pretty quickly. So how much of an impact do you think guys like King Mo are going to make? And I know Ben Askren, as you mentioned, is coming up pretty soon. What do you think?
I think those guys are built for success.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think wrestlers have the best foundation for discipline, determination, hard work, just all-out tough dudes. Not to knock any other sports. I think hockey, football, rugby, those are very tough sports. But I think wrestling is more demanding than the most of them, and we learned that from a young age. To see Muhammad Lawal, the guys, I've been looking up to him for a long time. Saw him win a D2 title, and to see him go out there and just blast double leg guys in the, working out, training for the Olympics, and to see him come out and just slam guys in a ring, in a cage. I can't wait till he gets to the big show and gets to do it against some upper echelon fighters. Brock Lesnar, he knocked off my hero, Randy Couture. There's a lot to be said for that. Heath Herring went 3 rounds with Brock, and probably is still pissing blood and is still in pain, from it. And to dethrone the king, Randy Couture, there's a lot to be said for that. But I know Brock has a lot of respect for Randy outside of the fight, and in competition as well. To see Ben Askren, a 2-time, Division I national champ from Missouri, it's just a matter of time before he comes in and starts taking it to people.
What do you think he'll settle in at? He wrestled, I think, at 174. So is that about 170, or
I think he'll.
Would he shrink down to 55?
I think he'll start out at 170, and then I'm sure he'll make his way down to 55. But he's, he's got some height to him, and he's, got big, broad shoulders. But he's a very methodical wrestler, and I'm curious to see how he's going to transfer over into the mixed martial arts game.
Right. I think the other guy people are excited about, and he fought once, and now he's got a fight coming up in about 2 weeks with a wrestling background. Now, he also did the same thing as Brock and went to the WWE, and that's Bobby Lashley, who, he was a high-level college wrestler. I would assume he's going to make the transition pretty easily. I don't know if he can strike. I don't know if he can defend submissions, but the guy he's gigantic. I mean, he's 6'3", and he probably has to cut a little bit to get to 265.
Yeah, he's a monster. I met him at the UFC 90 in Chicago. Came up, real nice guy, and I'm looking for big things from him. He kind of reminds me of Kevin Randleman, but obviously bigger, a bigger frame, and just dynamic. He's going to have a huge blast double. Let's see if he can throw hands and transition, his takedowns into, a solid ground game and not get caught. I don't see how anyone's going to triangle that guy. Maybe armbar is always susceptible to wrestlers.
Explain that, because, we've a lot of us in the media have theorized on Brock. They're like, can you even choke this guy out? I mean, his neck is so freaking big. And on the flip side, can he choke people out? I mean, I guess you can basically squeeze your face until it, crushes. Right. But can he even get, his arms underneath your neck?
I think you'd have to rock Brock pretty hard and get him just put him on Queer Street in order to get around him and have him not just squeeze, because his hands are huge. Obviously, we've seen he can just squeeze one hand and just tear it off, I think, and defend a choke like that, let alone, stunning the guy, too. We haven't seen anyone do it yet.
Yeah. This pisses people off. The whole Brock Lesnar thing. The hardcore fans are like, well, superhuman strength really shouldn't be the difference, but maybe in some cases...
he's an athlete, too. Let's not forget that.
That's the thing.
Guy tried out for the NFL. He's a great athlete. He was in the WWE, WWF. He's not a schlub off the street. He's definitely talented, and he was always. He was also a Division I national champ too. So
give me your take on one of the guys you fought recently. You just beat Danzig, but before that, you had a tough loss to Huerta. You're winning the fight. It's 2-0. You get hit by a knee, and the fight turns. He's looking at maybe 6 months from now being out of the UFC and taking a break. And I don't know if he's coming back or what he's doing. What's your thought, and kind of what's the sentiment of a lot of people around mixed martial arts?
He had a lot of hype behind him. He was the poster boy, for the Latin, audience, and he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. There's a lot to be said for that. He hadn't lost a fight in 3 years till he lost to Kenny Florian, I think. I thought we, had the right game plan. We did for 2 rounds, and everyone gets stung once in a while. I wouldn't call it a lucky knee, but whatever. Outside of the fight, his fighting career has kind of gone in a downward spiral in the past year. Nothing against that. Kenny Florian picked him apart, won a pretty easy decision. Just frustrated the hell out of Huerta. I think you saw my fight. I had him up against the cage, and you saw a look of he's broke. And he came back and did his thing, but maybe there's bigger, better things out there for some fighters. He's a phenomenal athlete. I just think it caught up to him. People kind of saw that he was a one-sided brawler who has technique, but just didn't. When it came to more technical fighters, tougher guys, it didn't transition over as well. But all the best of luck to him, in acting. And I'm sure, if he wants one more fight, they'll let him pick someone, or maybe they'll give him a tough fight on his way out,
right.
Kind of a going away.
Yeah, here's a present.
Exactly. So, but all the best to him. He's a great guy, a buddy of mine, and I wish the best to everyone that gets in the cage.
All right, you buddies with Nate Diaz?
I met him a few times.
Yeah.
We're not going to be buddies Saturday night, but afterwards I'll shake his hand, and I know my hand will be raised at the end of the night.
Yeah. What do you think of the Diaz brothers? And Nate's a little more subdued. He's still a little wacky, but as compared to Nick, he's kind of normal. What do you think? Are they good for MMA? Is it do you kind of need quirky guys like that, or a little off the wall?
I think I totally respect the heck out of both of them. Their fighting style is awesome. I respect that so much. They're exciting to watch. I love watching guys like that are under. Someone the uneducated MMA fan goes out there and sees this tall, lanky, string bean guy go out there that can throw hands, that can stop a takedown, get a takedown, throw submissions, and be successful. And they're like, wow, this is awesome. But as far as the antics after the fight, in post-fight interviews, whatever it may be, when they're at a gym working out, if I were them, I'd want to be more remembered as my fighting style and have a smile on my face, not down talking the refs, the judge, the audience, whoever it may be. It seems like they always got a negative attitude about.
But it seems like some guys do kind of motivate themselves by being pissed off all the time.
If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But Saturday night, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to work, huh?
No.
Looking back at his fights, I will say one thing: he's pulled out a lot of really good submissions. His hands are good. I don't think Nate's hands are as good as Nick's yet.
Right.
But he's been on his butt and back a lot.
He takes a beating and comes back. He's very patient.
That's the thing. So how do you, because you go 1,000 miles a minute, how do you make sure that you're dishing out abuse but you don't get caught in something? Especially the triangle is dangerous with him because his legs go forever.
Exactly.
So you got to make sure that you're pounding away but not getting set up.
Right. There's a thin line between being cautious and being relentless attack, that's what we do. Like you said, 1,000 miles a minute, but when I just have a barrage of elbows and punches coming at him, he's not going to know what hit him. We've seen him, submit other guys. Kurt Pellegrino, was real close to finishing him.
I thought Kurt had the fight won, and then talking to Kurt just said he got a little screwy mentally and lost his head for a couple seconds.
Yep. Kurt kind of gave up a little bit, but luckily with this camp we've trained with probably a dozen guys, half a dozen guys that are 5'10" to 6'1", 6'2", that are all the same body style, really good off their back, good hands, solid paws. So we have the recipe for success for Saturday night.
Yeah, and you got to think with a win. Your record's a little deceiving in UFC because we mentioned the Huerta fight. I still go back. I was there. The fight against Dean Thomas, I didn't get it. I didn't see Dean, hitting you with anything, and I thought his pacing just sucked. He got the decision. So you're 4-3. You get this win over, a good name prospect who's maybe bound for big things, and then another one. It's kind of crazy in the UFC, but they usually go with a hot hand. So you string together 2-3 wins, all of a sudden you could be in the title picture.
That's my plans in 2009 to be, talked about. Seriously talked about for that lightweight title shot, and to be taken, with a threat like Clay Guida's going to come in here and he's going to put on the best show, and he might walk away with that belt. I don't care if it's against BJ, I don't care if it's against Kenny Florian, whoever it's going to be against. I'm ready for whoever.
All right. I think the biggest thing in 2009 is we need to get you hooked up with either a different agent, additional agent. We got to get you some different sponsorship deals. I swear you could easily.
I know where you're going with this.
Right? Is it not obvious? How many people say it to you?
It's perfect.
The Geico caveman. You got to be. How come you're not wearing that leather motorcycle suit and get all pissed that they're calling you a caveman?
We need it.
Let's do it.
I'm telling you, man, we're this close. We're working on it. We got some big things in the loop.
That or maybe like supercuts. You don't have to cut the hair.
Exactly. Cause cutters, something, whatever it is.
Right. And we know, but you're not going to go the direction of like the deal with Andrei Arlovski with Wall. You're not going to start doing the manscaping, right?
Can't do it.
You're not going to wax. I still don't get that.
I'm Italian. He's Belarusian, dude. We're hairy guys. We can't help it.
That's the thing. The last fight I saw him, he had this beard, and then he's. It's like.
Where did Andre go?
You're right. Man's man, right? Not that we're saying Andre isn't.
Right.
Anyone who watches this, don't tell Andre we're saying he's not. But I don't get the manscaping. But, so Clay guarantees no manscaping.